If you would have asked a majority of NBA fans just a short 2 years ago who you think was going to have the better career between LaMelo Ball and Anthony Edwards, a majority of them would have said LaMelo Ball. Matter of fact, LaMelo got Rookie of the Year over Ant, and although LaMelo was the third pick in the 2020 NBA draft, a large amount of people believed he was the best player in that draft. He'd follow up in his sophomore season with an all-star selection, while both him and Ant made the play-in tournament in their respective conferences. Don't get me wrong, the race was still very tight, but if you had to give the edge to someone between the two at the end of the 2022 NBA season, you'd probably give it to LaMelo based off what you had seen. But then LaMelo would play just 36 games and 22 games in the next two seasons, while Anthony Edwards ascended to superstardom. And due to that lack of games being played, I have to ask the question. Of course, we haven't fully forgotten about LaMelo Ball, but recency bias is a real thing, and when you're injured the amount that he's been, our attention's been diverted from how good he's been when he's been healthy. Matter of fact, LaMelo averaged 23, 8, and 5 in his third and fourth seasons in the NBA. I understand he only played 36 games and 22 games. He may not have kept that up over the course of a season. However, in the games he was healthy, that's what he averaged, making him one of just 4 players in NBA history aged 23 or younger to do so. Oscar Robertson did it twice, Luka 4 times, Ja Morant once, and then LaMelo twice, obviously with the huge caveat that he did not play a majority of a season. But I say that to say LaMelo has a unique level mixture of scoring ability and playmaking that only a few NBA players have. Matter of fact, since 2020, these are the list of players that have averaged 23 and 8 assists per game. Nikola Jokic 3 times, Luka 5, Damian Lillard 1, LeBron James twice, Trae Young 5, James Harden once, and Ja Morant twice. So just 7 players outside of LaMelo. So with that being said, let's recap game 1 of the 5th year of LaMelo Ball's career, and hopefully the most injury-free. I gotta say, this game reminded everybody about the trajectory LaMelo was on before injuries, but there was also another player that shocked everyone that I'll reveal later in this video during the breakdown. And if this player is for real, it could change everything for Charlotte. So they played the Houston Rockets, and the Rockets were very good at home last season. I'm expecting a good season from the Rockets again. They'll be in the play-in, hopefully in a loaded Western Conference. Şengün is finally healthy. Reed Shepherd off the bench. Honestly, the Rockets are super deep. They just need to continue developing over the course of the season. And this entire first half was mainly Houston outside of the beginning of the first quarter. LaMelo wastes no time with his playmaking, finding Brandon Miller on this cut to the basket for a dunk. And honestly, to have a guy like Brandon Miller alongside LaMelo Ball, who was fantastic in his rookie season last year, is a huge piece for LaMelo, especially since he has the ball in his hands a majority of the time. Being able to let Brandon Miller from time to time, especially down the stretch, get you a bucket when you're tired is huge. Amen Thompson hits a corner 3 here, which is massive. I think he shot like 17% from 3 last year. Obviously not his strength, but if he can even remotely develop a 3-point shot, that's going to be massive for him. Reed Shepherd gets his first bucket in the NBA after putting LaMelo in jail here on the floater, and then has this nice assist to Jock Landale in the pick and roll. Houston begins pulling away a little bit in this second quarter. Trey Mann hits a big 3, former OKC fan favorite here. I'm excited to see him having a bigger role, especially with a guy like Terry Rozier not on Charlotte anymore. And he hits one more 3 before the end of the half, where Charlotte's down 60-49. One key note in that first half is that Brandon Miller had a left hip injury. He would not check back into the second half. A huge loss for Charlotte, especially down double digits, but they come roaring back in that third quarter, going on a 10-2 run, which includes this Trey Mann absurd step back 3, and then this LaMelo Ball floater, cutting the lead to just 6, 77-71. And by the end of the third quarter, a couple LaMelo Ball free throws cuts it to 4, 83-79. Trey Mann was the secret breakout player in this game I was talking about at the beginning of the video. He hits this pull-up jumper over Şengün to tie the game at 83. Another LaMelo lob to Miles Bridges gives them their first lead since 6 minutes left in the first quarter. This entire fourth quarter was back and forth. LaMelo has a step back three to tie it again at 88. And then Trey Mann with this sick step back three as well, tying it at 96. Like I said, with Terry Rozier gone, having a guy like Trey Mann come off the bench and being able to create for himself, especially with Brandon Miller hurt, could prove to be huge for the Hornets over the course of a season. Obviously, it's just one game, but I'm excited to see Trey Mann grow as a player in a bigger role. And here's Trey again, tying it at 98 all. LaMelo has a crazy deep three, follows his own shot for two, 198. A Nick Richards board to LaMelo Ball puts the Hornets up 5, 103 to 98. Jalen Green would score a quick 5 points, tying it before LaMelo would dish it to Grant Williams for his own three, which would prove to be the difference. LaMelo hits a couple free throws at the end here, and the Hornets win 110 to 105. Like I said, I'm high on the Rockets this year, guys. So for the Hornets to come into Houston, a place that they played very well at home all season last year, the Rockets did, and win game one, I think that's huge for Charlotte. LaMelo Ball finishes with 34 points, 10 free throws, which we know is huge for any superstar in the NBA, getting to the free throw line, 8 rebounds, and 11 assists. Trey Mann finishes with 24 points of his own. And I guess the reason I made this video, guys, is because I'm excited to see LaMelo Ball finally, hopefully, have a season where he plays at least 60 to 65 games. He hasn't done so since his sophomore year when he played over 70. Even his rookie season was cut short. I think he played like 51. I truly think he can be right up there with guys like Luka and Trey in this league, averaging close to 30 points a game and over 10 assists. I understand it's tough because you have a guy like Tyrese Halliburton who led the league in assists last year, and he was averaging a ton of points before the All-Star break, definitely cratered afterwards. So I get that it's hard to do it for an entire season. And I also really don't see why Charlotte can't be one of those play-in teams again this year. The East is super weak. I think Charlotte's over-under for wins this year is hovering around 30, but there's 5 teams in the East below them, making them 10th in projected win totals. And honestly, I'm a little skeptical about the Hawks. Either way, there's no reason they don't beat out teams like the Bulls or the Raptors, or at least have a good chance to if LaMelo is healthy, and of course a sophomore year leap from Brandon Miller as well. Alperen Sengun was largely awesome in this game. He had 25 points, 18 rebounds, 5 assists. He's going to have a fantastic season. However, his one hiccup or nitpick, if you will, was he did turn the ball over down 3 late in the game, which is probably more than just a little nitpick, but nevertheless, excited for Sengun this year. I'm glad he's healthy again. Jalen Green did have 28 points, but I didn't love his game. Honestly, he shot like 9 for 23 from the field, and I want to like Jalen Green's game. I think he's a nice player, but it's not a talent thing. It's just like the dude doesn't know what a good shot is, or he just can't help himself. He gets in these moods where he just has to chuck. So if I'm a Rockets fan, I'd be super frustrated with Jalen Green in that regard. However, they should be a good team this year. They should vie for a play-in spot, and they really do have a lot of depth. With that being said, guys, that's all I have to say about LaMelo Ball. I'm just amped for him to be back. That's why I'm making this video, but let me talk about quickly the rest of the league on Wednesday night and Thursday as well. We're very early into the NBA season. It's hard to catch every game, but I've been doing my best. I covered tip-off night a couple nights ago on Tuesday. When it comes to Wednesday night, a majority of the NBA teams played. The Pacers just barely eked out a squeaker over the Pistons in a game where the Pistons led a majority of that game, but they got absolutely destroyed in the fourth quarter, 33 to 19. Again, all these are overreactions because it's early, guys, but my initial thoughts here are maybe Monty was the problem in Detroit. I mean, Cade Cunningham has something to prove. I think similarly to LaMelo Ball, he has that elite playmaking and scoring ability. And I think the discourse around Cade Cunningham has been very unfair to him over the past couple of years. He finishes with 28 points, 8 assists, 5 boards in this one. Jalen Duren, 13 rebounds, 13 points. As for the Pacers, it's great to see Benedict Mathurin back. He had 19 points in just 28 minutes. Tyrese Halliburton struggled from 3, 1 for 9, and only had 4 assists, 15 points. Not the best opening night for him. I know a lot of people are interested and excited about Andrew Nembhard. He had just 8 points in 35 minutes, but 7 assists, which is huge for him. The Hawks barely beat the Nets 120-116. Classic Cam Thomas, 36 points, 14 for 27 from the field, 7 for 13 from 3. I always make the joke, Cam loves beginnings of the year. Last year, I think he averaged like 30 some points through the first 3 or 4 games. I'm hoping he keeps it up this year though. He's gonna have a ton of opportunity to play 34-35 minutes a night. And I'd love to see him take that next step forward, not just be just a chucker, but being able to take quality shots and yeah, just take a leap forward. That being said, Ben Simmons did play. He only had 6 points, 8 assists though, 5 boards. I'm hoping maybe we have some redemption from Ben there. I don't know what to expect, to be honest. The Brooklyn Nets are gonna be terrible this year. On the Hawks side, I don't know, man. I love Trae Young. He had 30 points and 12 assists, 5 boards, got to the free throw line a ton. Dyson Daniels had a good game. Onyeka Okongwu had 28 points on 11 for 12 from the field. I'd love to know how many of those made field goals were off of a Trae Young pick and roll assist. Jalen Johnson just signed a big contract. He had 11, 10, and 4 in 37 minutes. This year's #1 overall pick, Zachary Richichet, came off the bench, had 7 on 2 for 8 from the field. The Magic destroyed the Heat 116-97. Paolo Banchero deserves his own video. Don't worry, guys, it's coming. He had 33 points, 11 rebounds, had 3 assists, and was a whopping plus 42 on the plus minus, which is insane, guys. Oh my gosh. I love Paolo. Cannot wait to talk more about him in a future video. I think it was smart for Orlando to sign KCP. That obviously gives them another swing defender and a 3-point shooter. He didn't have a great night tonight, went over 5 from 3, but I love seeing a veteran presence on such a young team that definitely their youth showed up in that playoff series versus Cleveland last year. Jimmy Butler had just 3 points in this game in just 26 minutes, 1 for 8 from the field. The Bucks beat the 76ers without Paul George or Joel Embiid. We have to talk about Joel Embiid at some point as well. He's sitting out these first couple games. The NBA is investigating him. What's going on? Giannis did what Giannis does. 8 for 11 from the field, 25 points, 14 boards, 7 assists. Damian Lillard, 30 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. The Cavaliers destroy the Raptors 136-106. Evan Mobley, fantastic game, 25 points, 9 rebounds, 3 blocks in just 27 minutes of play. I really want to see Evan Mobley continue to take that step forward this year. The Pelicans without Zion, which feels like a broken record at this point, defeat the Bulls 123-111. Brandon Ingram went absolutely off, 33 points, but DeJounte Murray did suffer a broken hand in this game. He's going to be out a couple months. And I don't even want to talk about the Bulls. They don't interest me. I don't know what they're going to do, man. Lonzo did play. I think that's a bright spot, 14 minutes. Don't know how he's going to respond, what type of player he's going to be. He had 4 assists in those 14 minutes. I'm hopeful for him, but I don't know. The Grizzlies barely beat a Jazz team that people do not believe in this year. I don't think they're going to be very good. 126-124. Ja had 22 points and 10 boards. Lauri Markkanen, 35 points, 9 rebounds. I wonder what the Jazz's plans are here with Danny Ainge. I know they have so much draft capital. They have so much cap space. You got to think Danny Ainge is amped to get one of those top 3 or 4 draft picks this year, with Ace Bailey, Cooper Flagg, Dylan Harper, etc. And I'm super high on the Grizzlies this year as well. This was not my favorite game in game 1 from them, but Ja Morant has not played since like December of last year. They started Zach Edey, played just 15 minutes and fouled out, which is a little concerning because he's the first player ever in NBA history to do so. However, the Grizzlies are so good. They don't have Gigi Jackson or Vince Williams Jr. right now at all either, which are going to be 2 absolutely massive pieces off the bench for them. I don't think it's that controversial. They're projected like 46 wins, but I think the Grizzlies outperform that. I think they get close to 50 and they get a top 4 seed in the West this year. I just think they're that good. Final 2 games of the Wednesday night slate. Suns Clippers was very entertaining and went to overtime 116-113. No Kawhi. I have to make a video on the Clippers at some point as well. Feels like the beginning of the end. You get nothing for Paul George. He just walks in free agency after the trade that you made for him 4 or 5 years ago. But James Harden did have 29 points, 12 rebounds, and 8 assists in this game. You gotta think he's gonna be shipped the moment the Clippers get to, like, I don't know, 2-6 or maybe 7-13. And as for the Suns, a lot of people very high on the Suns. Bradley Beal had a great game. Devin Booker fouled out and only had 15 points, but people are super high on the Suns. They have Tyus Jones, a point guard, which was a massive signing for them. 11 points, 8 assists. And I'm very intrigued by the rookie Ryan Dunn to see how he can progress over the course of this season, because he could be that lockdown defender off the bench they need when the playoffs come. However, he's an awful three-point shooter, was in college, and so he has to develop that, or else obviously teams are just going to sag off him on offense and he's going to be more of a liability. But the Suns have everything to lose this year. It's probably their final year or two of contending. Kevin Durant's 35 years old, so we'll see, man. A lot of pressure. And the Warriors blow out the Blazers. We all know the Blazers are going to be bad this year, 140-104. Steph Curry was just one rebound away from a triple-double. I don't know, man. I gotta see it from the Warriors. I feel like everyone's just, obviously they're going to be probably a play-in team, but like, I don't know, man. I would not want to be in the Warriors position if I were running that franchise. It feels like they're just holding something together with duct tape, and at some point it's going to all fall apart, but we'll see. And then, of course, as I'm recording this, it's Thursday, October 24th at night. I'm not going to talk about the games that took place tonight because I'll talk about them in my next video, but they were good games. And welcome to an NBA season. There's games every night for the indefinite future. It's going to be exciting. I'm going to try, guys, not to overreact to individual games, but it's fun. It's human nature. We like doing it. It's exciting. For example, I'm nervous about Denver. I follow Adam Mars, a couple of the Denver guys. They're nervous about Denver, and if you watch the game tonight, I won't mention it because I'm talking about it in future videos. You're probably nervous about Denver as well, but it's also just one game, so we'll see, man. With that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. LaMelo, just pray he has a injury-free season. Thanks for watching, and as always, we'll see ya on the hardwood.